All right, well, my car warms up. I'm going to give a review here of Happy Death Day to You. Just got done with seeing it here, and story was kind of hard to follow. It's almost something that you have to almost see twice, but it was definitely more funnier movie this time around than it was the first time. Even though the first one was, had funny parts, this one was definitely more comedy based than horror based. But yeah, like I said, story was a little confusing at times. It wakes up with the Asian roommate Ryan. He basically ends up getting killed to start the movie, and he only gets killed once. And then they kind of figure out that they ended up evidently creating this time or alternate dimension time loop sort of thing, because he has this machine that he ended up making. And they noticed that it spiked that previous night. This is basically taking place the next day. So it kind of starts fresh in this one, sort of. But this machine that they created basically created an alternate dimension where her mom is alive. She wasn't alive in the first one, or she wasn't alive, and she ends up being alive in this one. So she kind of has to make the tough decision of, does she go back to be with Carter, who she keeps waking up in bed with? She ends up with, in the alternate dimension, he ends up with the Danielle, who is the kind of the bitchy house leader, sorority leader, whatever she was. So she kind of has to make that tough decision. Okay, do I want to stay here in this dimension where my mom is still alive, or do I want to go back and be with Carter? And I don't want to ruin it for you, but basically she has to figure out who the killer is, because the killer isn't who it was in the first one. Because in the first one, it was her roommate Lori, who worked at the hospital. In this one, it's not. But those are parts I don't want to really ruin for you, because it's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, the story was a little confusing. At the end, or after the credits, stick around for the after the credits. There's a scene that kind of partially maybe might set up a third movie. Happy Death Day 3U. I don't even know. Maybe 3D. I don't know what they would call it, I guess. But it could potentially set up a third movie depending on how this one does. First one was made on a very cheap budget, made a ton of money. This one, I heard, isn't performing as well at the box office, so all kind of depends on that. But it was good, funny story. Definitely a lot funnier than the first one. I would say I'd give it a solid 3 out of 5 stars. Well, actually, I might give it a 3.5. It was funny, had some very funny moments to it. But yeah, like I said, the story was just slightly confusing at times. Luckily, there were no other dimensions in the movie. But it was funny. It was definitely funnier than the first one, like I said before. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I don't know if I give halves, but I'm gonna give this one, because it's good. The story was just slightly confusing at times. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This might be my first half. Maybe something I just started here. But I enjoyed it. I think the first one was better. Well, I guess I can't really say it was original, but I think I slightly enjoyed the first one a little bit more. But this one was more, like I said, more funnier than the first one. Kind of rehashed some of the original stuff. Just the way she died. Then in this one, you kind of figure out that if she's dying too much, and that's kind of causing her to, it's weakening her. the more she's dying, kind of like Logan almost. The more he, I guess, towards the end of that movie, the more he was, you know, he couldn't really regenerate himself. So that kind of is similar in that regard there. But I was gonna say, people were kind of looking at me there. I'm still in the parking lot of the theater while my truck, like I said, my truck was warming up. But yeah, the more she was dying, she's like, I can't die anymore, or else I might not come back. So that's kind of something new that was with this one, that she really can't die anymore. So, but the after credits scene involves this time machine. This DARPA takes this machine. I'm not sure exactly what DARPA stands for, but it seems like that's something that I've heard of before. But they end up taking this machine that can create alternate universes or time loops or whatever, and they're like, oh, we need somebody to do this on. And they're like, oh, well, let's use Danielle. So definitely funny. But yeah, worth checking out. If you enjoyed the first one, it's definitely worth something that you got to check out. Give it a 3 out of 5, 3.5 stars out of 5. Check it out. And I think so thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Give this a thumbs up, and stay tuned for more reviews. Peace.